Hi there, I'm Mike from Middlesbrough Environment City, and join me today on another one of my guided walks. So as always, I have a guest speaker with me today, and a lot of people have been asking me to walk along the Black Path. So at last the time has come. You'll be glad to know I'm going to walk along the Black Path today, but with there being a lot of features of the Black Path, I thought it'd be worth bringing someone along who knew what they were talking about, and I've indeed done that. So today, joining me on my walk is Chris from Teesside Archives. Hi Chris.
Hiya Mike, you alright?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for joining me today.
That's alright, thanks for bringing the weather. It's absolutely fantastic.
I did order it for us, I'll be honest.
Excellent. I wouldn't expect anything less.
So what's the plan for today? Do we have one?
We do have a plan, yes. We're going to walk the Black Path, which I've been absolutely desperate to walk as a guided walk for quite some time. I'll just introduce myself a little bit in the role that I play within the Teesside Archives. I'm the Community Engagement Officer, and I had planned to do the Black Path walk actually as part of Local History Month.
Yeah, you mentioned
and obviously,
that, yeah.
Lockdown kind of kicked in and everything went out the window. Teesside Archives, just to give you a bit of background for those that don't know, it's an archive service for the local authorities in this area, for Middlesbrough, Redquin, Cleveland, Hartlepool and Stockton. This is our building here. We've got, our entrance is actually in the old head post office that was built around about 1879. It's actually a Grade 2 listed building. And then this section here is the post office buildings, the post office chambers it used to be called. And this was built in about the 1920s. And that's where our collections are. So we have collections, we have private collections, we have collections for clubs and societies, we've got local authority, public collections, you name it, we've got it. I mean, I haven't even been into all the rooms in that building. There's like rooms within rooms. It's such an incredible collection of material. Photographs, diaries, letters, council minutes, maps, incredible historic map collection. And it all kind of feeds in very much into what we're going to do today, which is obviously record the walk and also bring in some of the material from the archives. We also have the British Steel collection, which is an internationally important collection, which has got some amazing images that we can have a look at as part of the walk. So
you think that some of the information you've got in the archives will be useful to today's walk?
Definitely.
We're going to add that into the video as we go along?
Yes, we will, yes. That'll be part of the final video, so yeah.
Brilliant, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, just bring it to life really, so.
Of course. So should we set off?
I think we should, yeah.
Let's get going.
Not to.
What's this building here then, Chris, that we're walking past now?
Well, this one is, I think this is the post office buildings. I think the building that the archives is in used to be called post office chambers. It's called Zetland buildings now, but on some of the old maps it's post office buildings, and it's just this beautiful sweep. I mean, look at the curve on that architecture, it's
lovely,
just glorious. And this used to hold the offices for lots and lots of different people. If you look on some of the ward directories that we've got in the archives, there are salt makers in here, there are iron merchants, iron ore merchants. We've got consulates from across the world. We've got a Spanish consulate, we've got Italian consulate, we've even got a Hawaii consulate, which is quite intriguing. This is all from sort of 1898, 1899. We've got Danish, Norwegian and Swedish consulates because we did a lot of trade with the Baltic region. So it's a lot of solicitors, a lot of lawyers, shipbrokers, shipbuilders, they were all in these buildings.
Right. It's a lot of history just in this area, isn't there,
well,
really?
This is the historic quarter,
I think as we were saying just before we set off, we were saying a little about the 66 and exchange
and the
buildings
that
was
time.
here.
Yes.
And we're saying it sort of, the 66 naturally created like an over the border field, didn't it?
It did.
And am I right in saying that where the post office buildings were, the Teesside Archive, that used to continue down onto
Martin
Road?
Yeah.
I think we've got an image of that, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. So.
And no doubt we'll have some images of the exchange buildings.
We do, yes. The only part of the exchange you can see now are those heads, the stone heads that are set up. Like
on the stairs at the back, yes.
Yeah. So they're the only part.
And they're
of this,
the original building.
The original building, yeah. So, I mean, you look at the photographs and it was huge. It was absolutely stunning. This is rather lovely as well, though. This is the old Yorkshire Bank entrance.
Come back a bit.
Yeah, it's quite impressive.
It is a lovely building, actually. It's now Commerce House.
Yeah, but I mean, look at that lovely dome at the top, that copper dome. You see it actually when you go on the A66.
You do,
you get a really good view of it actually from up there. But yeah, I mean, the granite front, a real sense of opulence, of wealth, of confidence as well in the town. You know, they were saying, yes, we're here, this is our, we've got money to invest, come and invest in us.
So there's a little bit of work going on here.
There is, yes. This is new exchange buildings, and I think they're turning them into flats, which is really lovely that they're actually preserving them, because again, it's a lovely block of buildings, really beautiful.
A guy's braver than me doing that painting all the way up there.
Oh my goodness, no, you wouldn't get me in that cherry picker.
Saying that, it's better than being on a ladder, isn't it?
Yeah, and then we've got the PD Ports office here, which used to be the headquarters for the Tees Conservancy Commissioners that used to manage the river. And again, it's an absolutely beautiful building. I've been inside on the first floor. They've got the committee room.
Yes.
And it's all wood panelled, and it's got the beautiful zodiac.
Yeah, I think I've been in there.
Stained glass
Is there
windows.
some sort of map in there or something? A big a big table with
Yes,
a layout.
there is. Yes, I remember that. Because we did an event actually as part of River Tees Rediscovered Landscape Partnership a few years back, and we had a couple of people from PD Ports who were given the history of the river and the history of the development of PD Ports themselves, and it was really fascinating.
I remember I can't remember why it was, but we got access to a few of these houses along here.
Oh right, yes.
And they opened a few of those up for us. I think it must have been on like historic
Heritage Open Day or something.
Yeah, it was something like that,
yeah.
I believe. And they opened a few of those up.
Yeah.
I think one had been like a skate shop or something, and it had like bits of skateboard and things still on it.
Yeah. They've had. I mean, it was the original office for the owners of the Middlesbrough estate. It was at the end of the terrace.
Yeah, I think there's a blue plaque on one
there
of
is.
this.
There is. Yeah. And this is rather lovely as well. The poem that's across this wall. I really like this one.
I don't think we'll get it all in.
I don't think we will. No.
You have to just read it backwards. As we've gone along, it's okay.
Yeah, where alchemists were born below Cleveland's hills. We built the world. Every metropolis comes from Ionopolis. Really lovely. And actually I saw them repainting that. It was getting a bit faded, so...
It's been redone?
Yeah, it has, which is really good.
There's a few of them that have gone up on Baker and Bedford Street as well, isn't there?
Yes, there's some nice murals and some poets, poetry.
I was there when they did the one that goes over Shepherdson Way, do you know the bridge near the football stadium?
Oh yeah.
There was a mural painted there, and there was a guy. Yes. I was doing a little bit of work under the bridge.
Yes.
There was some recycling of some bikes and things, and the guy was there on his cherry picker doing all the stenciling for it.
Is that the Ali Brownlee?
It's something about right round mine for a palm or something.
Yeah, it's Ali Brownlee. Yeah, it's the radio presenter, isn't it? He was a massive Borough fan. I'm not up on my football history, I have to say.
Sorry, I'm not either, I'm afraid.
But something happened that was really momentous for Middlesbrough, and he was commentating, and he just that was
what he
said.
Words,
that was his response to it, yeah.
Everybody a bit like they think it's all over, it is now sort of thing.
Exactly, yeah, it's gone down in local history. It's a lovely day to see the frontage of the Middlesbrough College. It's quite an interesting design, the building.
It was when it was done. I know a lot of people had said that it looked like it wasn't finished.
I know, I thought some of the panels had blown off.
I must admit, I did look and think, that's a very strange design. I didn't sort of not like it, but I thought that is very unusual. But you kind of accept it now.
You do. You get used to it, and also it reflects the sky. It's a really lovely kind of canvas for reflecting the sky and the weather.
I think the college being placed there has had quite a positive impact on this area as a whole, because it's given it a new lease of life, really, hasn't it?
It was key to the regeneration, really. It's trying to get people back into this area.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you look at the old maps, you can see this whole area was just a mass, like a huge web of railway tracks feeding into the dock, which we'll get to. So it's nice to see some people as well.
It is.
Nice to see the students back. I always think as well, this edge of the college looks a bit like a ship.
I think the one on in the town, there's a building in the town, isn't there, for the university? Isn't that meant to look like a liner?
Yeah, I think it has. Is it the Curve, I think? Oh, I know one of them.
Something like that, yeah. It's on the right hand side is one of the first buildings you come to as the pedestrian area starts.
Yes, I know what you mean, yes. Yeah, I don't know whether it's intentional, but I kind of interpret it as almost like the side of a ship, it gives you that sense of scale.
I'd never seen like a ferry sort of, when you go on the big cruises and things like that.
Yeah.
And I'd never really seen a cruise ship up close. And I was in Malta a couple of years ago, and we went on this big boat trip, and we went past one, and we were really like a little micro machine next to it. It was unbelievable.
It's like a floating city, isn't it?
Oh, it was unbelievable, the size of this thing.
They always look to me a bit top heavy.
Yeah, it looks a bit too narrow and a bit too tall.
Yeah, like there's not enough on the bottom and there's too much on the top. So
They probably go for miles underneath that you can't see.
yeah, like an iceberg, I would imagine.
This seems to be quite a new addition since I've been here. This
Yeah, what the
nice
little sort of
seating
fit
area.
trail. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's been here a few years, I think. Well, a couple of years maybe it's the fit trail, but the grassy area's been there a while. But there seems to be building on the other side. Gosh, I can hear a woodpecker just chipping away there.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Must be in the trees. Gosh, that's an unusual. I didn't expect to hear a woodpecker today. There's Teesside, which I really like. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think it's.
No, I must admit I'm kind of on the fence with it.
Are you?
I prefer the structure behind it.
Do you?
Yeah.
What, the Abelston?
Yeah, I think that's quite iconic.
Yeah, I guess it is. Actually.
I don't dislike Temenos, I just,
Yeah.
I think it probably could have been put somewhere else and you could have had that, enjoyed that somewhere and enjoyed the structure behind it too.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean that was the Temenos was part of was like a Tees Valley wide public art scheme, wasn't it? There were meant to be 5, I think, huge
That's right,
public art pieces.
in the Tees Valley, wasn't
and
it?
Temenos was the only one that got built.
Yeah.
So I've seen. I think a lot of people have done sort of creative writing kind of based on it, and some children came up with some really imaginative ideas as to what it could be, like a net for catching angels and things like that, which was rather lovely. It does make you a bit giddy when you walk underneath it and you look up, because the whole perspective changes. It seems to kind of invert itself. I can't really describe it, and I'm not a great one for heights anyway, so it kind of. Look at that, the reflection on the dock water. It's been quite incredible. I usually come out for like a lunchtime walk around here if I can, and you see seals in the dock. I've seen common terns fishing in the summer. We've had sand martins feeding on the insects above the water.
I mean, that is a lovely sort of panoramic picture there.
Yeah, I did a bit of research because we've got quite a lot actually about the dock, Middlesbrough Dock, in our archives. We've got a fantastic map showing like a plan. It was opened in 1842, I believe, and closed in 1980, and I thought that was quite recent. When I first moved to the area, like 20 odd years ago, I thought the dock had been closed for a long, long time, far
like
longer than that.
Early 1900s or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, but hadn't realised that it had been around for nearly 140 years. So.
And I wonder if the boat's still there that appears at low tide.
Oh, was there a boat?
On the other side of this bridge. I don't know if it's been moved because that was a footbridge, wasn't it? That sort of spun.
Yeah. Now they've
put a road in.
Yeah.
There's a boat, tiny, like rowboaty type thing.
Oh my goodness.
That used to appear on the other side of the bridge when the tide was low. I've got a lovely photograph of it that my friend took a good few years ago.
Yeah.
And framed at the top of my stairs.
Yeah. I didn't realise that. Because that bridge is removable. You can lift it up.
So even the new one still.
You can remove that one. Yeah.
Because the old one used to spin on a pivot,
like a
didn't
swing.
it?
Yeah, there were swing bridges. So just to let the. I think when Tees Development Corporation kind of took it over, I think they always had ideas for it becoming a hub for tall ships.
Right.
Unfortunately, it never really came about for whatever reason. Yeah, there's the story, isn't there, that one of the faces hasn't got any hands on it because the iron workers, well, Bjorko and Vaughan, didn't want the workers to
clock watch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's other stories as well.
I heard a story that was someone didn't want to pay.
Yes. They didn't want to put any money into it.
Again, on the heritage open days, we actually went inside there.
Oh, did you go inside the dock?
And it's big water tanks.
Yeah, because it used to control the.
Used to do the gates
levels.
or
the hydraulic gates. That's what it was.
Something like that. Yeah.
It moved the hydraulic.
Yeah, I didn't know what was inside it, and I expected it to be like little offices or something.
Yeah.
Because all the windows are just dummies, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just to make it look nice.
It's not the original dock clock. I think there was an original one that was there. That was slightly different style, and then they had to get rid of that one and replace it. I'm not sure, probably as part of the, I think there were 3 phases of expansion with the Middlesbrough Dock, you know, as the ships grew in size and the amount of traffic kind of increased as well, so. Oh, and here we are.
There's the mural, you can just see in the distance.
Yes, that's it, yes. Harry Brownlee, yes. That is it.
And that's where I was stood in that car park at the time,
Right.
doing some cycle repairs, and the guy was stenciling it all on.
Oh, brilliant.
So which way are we going? Are we going up and over or around the back of the...
I guess
Which
we
way
can,
would you like to go?
we can go along and then you can get the mural and then we can go onto the road, and
sure.
then walk past the Switzer place and then we'll get to the navigation in, so that's it. Because he tragically died of cancer, didn't he?
I'm not sure, I don't really know the story behind it.
Yeah, he was a hugely popular, very well respected radio broadcaster, and it's party, party, party. Everybody around my house for a Parmo. And I still haven't had a Parmo, I have to confess.
Haven't you had one yet?
No, I've been in this area for 25 years, I think. 26 years. And
A bit of a connoisseur, I must admit.
Are you?
Yeah. Can you remember when this first was built? The stadium?
It was 94, 95, wasn't it, I think? And I came to the area in 94, so I think it's always been here. I've never I don't remember
the reason I say it is because I remember when it first started getting built.
Yeah.
They used to open these rooms here.
Yeah.
And they did like a car boot sale.
Oh, did they?
Underneath when it was first opened. So that 94, 95 is about right, because I left school 94.
Right.
So that sounds about right, because my dad used to bring me, because there was a car boot sale, my dad loves car boot sales, and they used to always take me on a Sunday. Yeah. And they used to do it on a Sunday morning here, because it was originally where the dog track was.
Right.
And Macmillan College is now.
Oh, yeah.
They used to do it there. And it moved from there, and it went to the football stadium, I remember it. So we're at the Navigation pub.
Yeah, Navigation Inn. I've seen a few, had a few stories of Walls Could Talk. We've got some fantastic oral histories that were recorded by, I think, Cleveland County Council in the 1980s. And one of them is from a lady called Mrs. Head, whose father's parents were actually the landlords at the Navigation Inn. And they kept horses in the stable at the back.
Which is hard to imagine now, isn't it?
It is. And again, the British Steel collection, we've got a fantastic image of Teesside Bridge and Engineering Company. I think we're on the right-hand side, probably where that new empty unit store is. Yeah, which I always keep hoping it's going to turn into IKEA, but
I want it to be IKEA as well.
But anyway,
just for the meatballs, if nothing else.
I know exactly. But yeah, there's a fantastic picture we've got where because Ormsby Beck actually runs underneath the road and kind of comes out by the Navigation pub, and it undermined the bridge that carried the railway line that you can still see, the old railway line across. And they created a temporary bridge just to carry it across until they managed to get a proper bridge sorted. I've also come into somewhere in our collections, we've also got mention of an unemployment scheme that happened in the 1930s, looking at employing people to widen the beck. So, and again, there's something about the temporary bridge which might well be that. Then there's this fantastic building here, which I think must have been the station master's building, because the station, Cargo Fleet Station, was just a little bit further along the line there. In fact, you can see it in the background of this photograph from the British Steel collection.
It's a lovely building, such a shame it stood there empty.
Well, look at the detail, you know, you've got that lovely sort of corner bit of the sandstone, you've got all the brickwork. You know, it was a building of, you know, some importance, so no idea who owns it, no idea who owns the land.
There's been another building on this site because there's a tiled floor just in front of us.
Yeah.
So there's been something built next to it at some point. You can see all the tiled floors.
I'm sure that if we looked at the maps, I mean, some of the old maps that we have in the collection, we could probably work out what it was. And there might even be photographs as well.
Insert that here.
Yeah, yeah, if we can find it.
If we can find it.
Yeah,
there's definitely been something built next to it.
Yeah, there has. Yeah, you don't really notice that from the train, actually. Yeah, you can see the tiled floor. That's quite a modern tiled floor as well, I think. But all gone now.
Yeah.
So they've knocked this one down, but obviously left the old one.
Left the old one, yeah.
We've also got some lovely oral histories of a lady who used to live up South Bank, and she used to walk along the Black Path with her dad's dinner. on a Sunday when he was doing a double shift. And she said it always used to be kind of like a meat dish, and he used to have a pastry in a basin with a pastry top. So I guess a pie.
Pie, yeah. So it sounds like.
Any other name. And she said it always used to be wrapped up in a red and white spotted handkerchief, and she said it reminded her of Dick Whittington in the pantomimes, which is a lovely image. And you know, I mean, I don't know how old she was at the time, but she used to walk all the way from South Bank along this path. She used to come here. You used to have to cross over the road to get to the Cargo Fleet Works, where her dad worked, and the bloke in the signal station used to just say, "Yep, you're all right, love, just go across." And she'd always run and be really scared in case a train came out of nowhere. And they were asking her, you know, so there was no security or anything on the work? She said, "Oh no, I could just walk in."
Yeah.
You know, a kid could just walk into the works. Yeah.
Why didn't he just take the pie with him when he set off?
Well, I guess it was fresh out the oven.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because you know, maybe he couldn't. I think it was a bit of a treat if he was doing like a double shift then. But yeah, it was a lovely story. There's also other stories that we've got in the oral history collection of people actually walking from Dormanstown to Middlesbrough to see the football match,
Right.
which is commitment, I think. So we've just got Ormsby Beck down here. So this has undergone a lot of rechanneling and a lot of. It's actually quite low. I guess we haven't had that much rain recently, have we?
No, we haven't. We've had quite a lot of
Dry
warm
weather.
days like we've got today. Don't complain though. We need.
Oh no, I'm not complaining. This will get us through. I think the winter. We have some nice autumn days like this.
It will. And I mean, we've missed a bit of the summer, haven't we, as well, for obvious reasons?
Yes,
so I think
we have. I think we need a little bit at the end, don't we? So, but I've seen quite a lot of wildlife down here. I've seen little egrets down here. There's been cormorants down here as well. So.
Going back to pies.
All right, okay.
Right.
Is that a favourite topic?
Yeah, well, why not? Yeah. Is it right that they were made for like miners or something? So the crust around the edges meant you could just eat.
Oh, you're thinking
like
of pasties.
Is that a pasty?
Yeah,
not a
Cornish
pie?
pasty. So they used to have a thick pastry crust, so you could eat it with your dirty hands.
Yeah, and then
you
just
throw away the crust.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it was a pasty. That was a Cornish pasty.
Which, I mean, a lot of Cornish people from the tin mines did emigrate up here, you know, looking for work. So we might well have had the borough version of a pasty up here, yeah, because they brought all their, you know, their cooking traditions and things like that. So
I do like an occasional pasty.
yes, you can't beat it, can you? I mean, that's the great thing about Middlesbrough. It was a real melting pot. People came from all over.
From everywhere,
yeah. And then we were doing trade with people from all over the world. You know, back, like I say, back in those other buildings that we passed at the start of the walk, we had consulates, you know, people representing Norway and Sweden, and we had a big link with Japan. I think the Dorman Museum did a fantastic exhibition from Teesside to Tokyo a few years back, looking at that link, that cultural link and industrial and heritage link.
My granddad came over from Ireland, as you can tell by my surname.
I know, a lot of people did. A lot of people got Irish heritage.
Yeah.
Driven out, you know, by all the difficulties and problems that they were facing in Ireland. So. Somebody told me that was why, because there's such a big Irish population in Middlesbrough. That's why in each of the wards you have, I guess, a community school, primary school or Church of England school or whatever, and a Roman Catholic school, which I'd not seen that pattern before where I've worked in the past. So.
Yeah, I suppose that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Just looking at the structure here, this is the tidal valve. So obviously the river's still tidal at this point, and this just prevents that water, you know, if you get any really high tides coming up and potentially flooding further upstream in Berwick Hills, and because there was a big scheme actually to redirect the Beck course at Berwick Hills, because they had, you know, once in 100 years flooding events. They had them like every 10, 15, 20 years, you know, and it was just getting too much. So the Environment Agency and Middlesbrough Council came together, and well, there was a Friends of Ormsby Beck group that got together from local residents and lobbied for this to happen. So they've moved the Beck away from the houses and created a really lovely, you know, kind of created a bigger channel so it holds more water. Because the thing about the Becks through Middlesbrough is they very quickly fill up and overflow onto the floodplains which we've built on, because all of Middlesbrough is very low lying. So We've also got an eel pass in here, I think, because we do get eels coming up the beck. When they were redirecting, they did like an electro-stunning kind of activity to collect all the fish that were in the old beck channel to transfer them to the new beck channel, and they found about 6 almost fully grown eels, which they weren't expecting.
Right.
So it just shows that the water is actually really clean.
Yeah, for them to survive.
Not like it was when basically you had wall-to-wall ironworks on either side of this path, you know, kind of jammed in, completely hemmed in. Today, despite the noise in the background, you've got all birds.
Yeah,
and it feels really rural, really peaceful.
It's sort of like nature's taking it back, isn't it?
Yes, oh, absolutely. You give nature a chance and it will.
It will, yeah.
It will come back, yeah.
I noticed that when I've done a lot of walks, as you know, I do ones on lunch times. I've noticed a lot of the things that where I've been as a child, where I've been playing and things, they've gone.
Yeah.
Because no one plays there anymore. So
I know, it's
because
changed.
people aren't riding their bikes up and down this path all the time, nature takes it back, and I can still remember where it was, and you can kind of still see bits of remain, but a lot of it's just the trees grow and the shrubs and all that sort of stuff, and it's quite amazing really when you think it's like nature waits for you to finish with it and go, right, well, I'll have that back now.
Exactly, it's our turn, Well, it's like they always say, if you turn your back on a field, it'll turn into a woodland, you know, as soon as look at you. So there's a succession, you know, things just move on. This is quite an important path for wildlife as well, because it supports a couple of quite rare butterflies along here. It's too late for us to see them now, but you get the dingy skipper along here. Oh, there's a dragonfly just flew over there.
I saw that, yeah.
And you get the grayling butterfly as well. And they both like quite open areas. They're like these gravelly bits where they can bathe, you know, in the sunshine. But they're both declining quite rapidly because the habitat that they need is being built on, redeveloped, changed. So we've seen skipper butterfly, dingy skippers down here before, but not the grayling. So peaceful. This is almost back. So it makes a right-hand turn before it goes to the Tees. And it was in this area that you had cargo fleet, which was sort of one of the original ports in the Tees area. So bigger ships would come in and then they'd unload their cargo into smaller ships, smaller boats that could then make it further upstream, because the Tees was very difficult to navigate back in the day, before the 19th century, when they started to take away the bends and started to kind of use all the slag from the ironworks to build training walls, which narrowed the channel and helped the river to become self-scouring, I guess, you know, to kind of keep that depth. It was very meandering, as all rivers are when they get to the sea, you know, they spread out, there's lots of sandbars, mud banks, they become quite sluggish. So yeah, the River Tees has undergone a real transformation, I think, just to kind of help support the economic activity around here. But yeah, it's hard to believe, you know, it used to be a water mill, I think, here. There were various windmills dotted around. It was very pastoral. You know, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but this kind of bustling little port.
I believe over there there's some like boards, I think, that cross over. There's the remnants of an old bridge, I think, because I've walked on that side before and didn't realise that I was walking over the water, and I remember looking down thinking, oh, there's boards, because there was all grass and like greenery that had grown over it, so you just thought you were walking on just the normal grass sort of thing, but you weren't. It was, I think you can just see it over the top there.
Oh, yeah, I can.
And there was like wooden boards going across, and I thought, oh, I'm walking across the wooden boards into the water here. Before all these, the Harris fencing went in and things. This was a lot more open. And at the very first time I walked it, because there's been a lot of development along this path over the last few years.
A lot of changes, I mean, it was closed for quite a long time when they closed the Coatham works. I think that was 2015. It was closed for about 2 or 3 years because of safety concerns, but eventually, obviously, you know, the Coatham's cooled down and they weren't going to immediately demolish them, so they opened it back up again. I mean, this path, it's the Black Path, so it's an important local regional path, but it's also part of the Teesdale Way, and also now part of the England Coast Path as well, so which goes all around the coast of England. Oh, and here we go. Here's some signs. We've got the Tees link, which links you over to the Cleveland Way, Gisborough. All the various paths. 1 mile to South Bank.
So we've got 7.5 miles to get to Redcar.
We have, yes.
I think we'll have earned an ice cream by the time we've done that.
I should think so, yeah. And then we've got this lovely way marker here, which I think was designed and manufactured by a sculptor called Jim Roberts, who I've worked with before, which I really love. I think it was on the other side, but they've obviously moved it onto this side now.
There's another one a bit further down
There
by
is,
the road.
yeah, there are, yes. And they've got these lovely little sort of, you know, to control the motorbikes and stuff as well. So
Ah, is that what they're
I
for?
think they are, yeah. We've got some lovely wild flowers along here. We've got some very late flowering teasel there. Usually they're a lot bigger. They can grow sort of about 6 foot tall.
And the lesser spotted tyre.
Yes, unfortunately there are too many of those. But only the one, that's not too bad. You've got yarrow here, which is a really nice grassland flower. Apparently really good if you dry the leaves and powder them down. They're really good for staunching wounds. So I think Ray Mears actually uses it. He creates his own powder, yeah, so it actually acts as a coagulant. Helps your blood kind of clot.
How do people find out these things?
Well, trial and error, I guess. Depending on how bad you're bleeding, I think.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, try anything, I suppose.
I'd imagine there's a lot of people who tried it and maybe didn't live to tell the tale. Yeah, there's a huge amount of like folklore. We've got a lovely flower here, so one of my favourites. It flowers all the way through until November, the yellow toad flax. Really, really lovely flower, that one. So, I really like that one.
These are nice as well, these white flowers here.
Oh yeah, bindweed. Yeah, it's a nightmare if you get it in your garden or in your allotment because it is quite invasive, but it's very beautiful when it's just growing wild, you know. I mean, it's like anything. I mean, they're all wild flowers, so. We've got a lovely flower here. This is called lucerne or alfalfa, and it's a Mediterranean plant, and it was brought over, I think, as a forage crop. And it fertilises the soil because it's got nodules in its roots, which can fix the nitrogen. So it's a bit like the vetches and your peas and beans that you kind of grow in your allotment to do a similar thing. But the bees, as you can see, they absolutely love it.
Yeah, the bees like it, don't they?
Yeah, they do. So.
And the traffic you can hear is the A66.
Yes, it is. We just get it for a little bit, and then we kind of go behind the motorsports park, and then it kind of blocks out a little bit. So, but it's lovely to see all the flowers still flowering. Got a long season. Wild carrot, just growing here. So when the flowers finish, the seed heads kind of curl in on themselves and look like little birds' nests. But you wouldn't get any nice tasty carrots from that.
Right.
There's a lot of breeding's gone into, selective breeding gone in to create the carrots that we know. So if you pick it, it has got a carroty smell.
But I take it doesn't taste like one.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I haven't tried it, so. Actually, I forgot to mention, Mike, when we were looking at the Navigation Inn, that when they were proposing, I think it got its licence in about 1861, and when they were proposing to build a pub there, Mr. Cochrane, who owned the nearby ironworks, put in quite a few objections because obviously he didn't want there to be a distraction for his workers. So,
do you think they'd go out at break time and go have a few scoops?
Almost forget to come back, yeah. So he wasn't best pleased, I don't think, when it finally came to pass.
So there's another one of those markers there.
Yeah.
Teesside Way.
I've not actually noticed this one here before, so I think it's either been relocated to this area, this particular location, or maybe it's a new one, I don't know. Maybe it's Jim Roberts has done a new one. I do really like them though, I like to see them.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really inventive. And we're going to walk up this path and stairs now, Mike, that my husband put in. Legally.
Legally? You
Yes.
didn't just come and dig a hole
He
then?
didn't just come and do it off
Just
his own back.
I
No,
fancy
no.
some steps there, I've got some wood.
Yeah, I'll just stick them in here. No, it was all through the Rediscovering Skills apprentice programme through River Tees Rediscovered Landscape Partnership. So it's all part of kind of opening up this part of the Black Path and Teesdale Way and linking up with the South Bank viewing platform, which is on the other side.
Other side of the bridge.
So I'll lead you
Yeah,
up.
I think I mentioned that I came here many years ago and this was all just bricked up, you couldn't cross the bridge.
Yeah. Well, it's all been opened up now, and there's a little surprise up here, Mike. So.
Oh, good. I like surprises. Pleasant one.
Oh yes, it's a very nice one, don't worry. So up the steps. Oh, they're quite steep.
Quite substantial steps.
Oh yes, when my husband builds something, he builds it to last.
Yeah, it's going to last that, yeah.
Oh yes. Right. Here we are at the secret gallery. Just watch the hole there. That's not meant to be there.
No, I think someone's decided the barrier would be better.
Yeah, I think they've decided to take it out. So
Now
this is it was a wonderful project. We did actually probably exactly a year ago. It was in September last year. A little bit of money left over from our Heritage Lottery Fund through River Tees we discovered. We got the Sabat Gallery and the South Bank to coordinate it for us, and we got a number of local artists to basically paint their response to the Black Path and the heritage along this wonderful part of the Teesdale Way. So the artists, I've written them down because I don't want to forget anybody.
Let's do a walking tour as we
Yes.
go through the artists.
Yes, we've got, I think that must be Ray Husband. This one here.
RH, yeah.
This one's Philip Beauville. He's done a couple actually. That's one of them. Was it the Steelworks? We've got Julie McBean. Some people very kindly put their names actually at the bottom, which makes it a lot easier to remember.
I'm not going to ask you which is your favourite, by the way. We're not
Yes,
playing that
would be,
game.
No, that would just be too. They've all got their own merits. This is another one of Philip's. This is actually a steam engine because this was a railway bridge that took the railway across to all the steelworks.
You can tell it's
on the
quite a
river.
substantial bridge,
Oh,
isn't
yeah,
it?
it's been built to last. This was a joint one between Glynis Johnson and Helen Jane Gaunt, which looks at all the nature that's come back. You've got the cinnabar moth caterpillars and cinnabar moths, you've got foxes. These are all things that I've seen from the train as well. You've got the little egret, which is relatively new in the area. You've got the barn owl, and we've got some lovely painted lady butterflies because last year was a fabulous year for them. We had a massive explosion of their population. So Helen...
I seem to remember something about that, just to be
Yeah, there were millions of
millions and millions of butterflies.
Yeah. It was a proper butterfly summer. It was quite spectacular. And then we go on to this side, we've got, I think this is Rita Redman. So the Dorman Long Tower, yeah, Rita, she's put her name on there. Very beautiful actually, because you've got the iconic structures and you've also got all the wildlife at the front there. We've got David Watson, who worked at Smith's Dock shipyard originally, prolific painter. It was fabulous watching David work with this. The picture just he didn't have any sketching or anything, he just painted purely.
Just made it up.
Yeah, and just it really came to life, and it was just a real privilege. A contemporary was Len Tabner and David Mulholland from that school of painters. A few people have put their own little mark on.
Yeah, I'm not giving them the
No.
credit.
But it's...
At least it's not on the painting.
Yeah, exactly. This is Rob Millwood, I think. Really interesting one, looking at the future of this whole area.
Makes sense,
Looking at sustainable technology, becoming like a green energy hub. We've got the wind turbines off Redcar. I've got Kathy Forbes. I think these are like the tram lines. She was brought up, I think, in South Bank. Really beautiful, very lively. Got lots of life in it, that picture. And we've got Brian Collins, who I think was actually employed in the steel industry for a while. So obviously looking at the welding there. So
Probably painted. It couldn't have a better name.
Yes.
Secret Gallery. I would have walked straight past it and not noticed it.
Well, there's nothing to tell you about it. You just stumble upon it.
You secret. So did you guys do the meandering path as well?
We did. I think my husband put the path in. Yeah, we did a bit of wildflower planting. I mean, it's not the best time of the year. I think we've got a few cornflowers kind of still flowering. And obviously it's been a very dry spring as well, so I think that might have knocked the flowers back. But the we've seen all the wildflowers along the path anyway, so they'll come back in. But yeah, it's a really special.
It's a good use of the bridge.
It
and
is.
where did you say it goes to on the other side?
On the other side, it leads you cross over the road and you go onto the South Bank viewing platform, which gives you a fabulous view of the Working River.
Yeah, I've been there before. That was reinstated again quite recently, wasn't it?
Again, yeah. We worked with Redcar and Cleveland Council with that.
I found that on Google Maps.
Oh, right.
I was just looking at where we were looking at the Black Path, and I thought, "What's that there?"
Yeah,
and we
curious.
zoomed in. And me and my mate came and had a look.
Yeah.
We just cycled over and went and had a look at what it was. And it was a little bit sort of dilapidated at the time.
Yeah, it's
and then
been
not
tidied
so long
up.
ago, there was some new paths put in, and it was cleaned
tidied
up, and
up.
the ground was repaired and stuff. So, we were watching the boats go up on stilts at the time.
Oh, they're the ones that service the wind turbines. Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I might be wrong in saying this, I'm pretty sure that Prince Charles actually opened the viewing platform.
The viewing it makes sense.
Yeah, and there was a sculpture on there done by Lewis Robinson, who's a local sculptor. But I think the sculpture itself is long gone. I'm not sure what's happened to it, but
Steps here.
yeah, my husband didn't put these ones in.
There's another sign. I think these are two new signs.
Oh, I think they are. I really like that.
Yeah. Because we didn't have to go up there, we could have stayed
Yeah.
on that level there, couldn't we?
Around the corner, we've got another little surprise for you, Mike.
I like surprises. The last one was brilliant.
I know. Well, I think this one is just as good. This is the South Bank mural, the community mural. It was done by Foundation Press. They were the artists, Debbie and Adam, who were commissioned to deliver the project. And it worked with local artists and local residents in South Bank. And they created a community press called Black Path Press. They've created a whole series of wonderful books capturing people's stories, anecdotes, memories, which we're going to get a copy actually of the full set of books for the archives, which is fantastic. We've just got to work out obviously how to get them to us because they're based up in Sunderland, I think. And they created this. I'd always looked at this wall, obviously when this biogas generating plant was built, and thought, oh, it'd be great to do something on it. You know, everybody on the train can see it, people walking the Black Path. So they've done this fabulous mural, and it's actually got words from one of Vin Garbutt's songs kind of running through it, about photographic memories. There's some wonderful detail, which you don't actually see from the train, but obviously you do from the walk, and they've got obviously old maps. And these are the lyrics of the song. Vin Garbutt obviously being born in South Bank. Internationally renowned.
I saw this wall getting built. We walked along this path.
Yeah.
And this was all fresh concrete.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to myself, that's going to get absolutely destroyed with graffiti if nothing happens with it. So it's really good to see that someone's done this.
Yeah, this is Philip Bover, one of the artists from the Secret Gallery. This is his mural that he did.
Oh, he was up the top.
Yeah,
Philip,
Teesside Steel mural, 1975. So it's just got some wonderful stuff, and it hasn't been damaged. It hasn't been, nobody's written over the top of any of it. But it's a real celebration of community. And I think you see it from the train, and it kind of draws your eye, and you think, oh, do you know what? I think
I'm going to go and have a look at that, see what that is.
Yeah.
And it's a shame not to put something on here because, as I said, if you didn't, it would just get plastered with graffiti.
And look at these lovely drawings. Look, drawings, Miss Cowie, Mum. Isn't that fabulous?
That's it, my mum.
I just think they're so lovely, and I mean, those children have got their picture up there. Oh, this is my favourite quote. What do you look like, my dad? What does your dad look like? The exact same as me, just a lot taller. There's the logic of children for you, isn't it?
Well, that's right, though, isn't it?
What's your favourite dessert? Jam roly-poly with custard. There you go. And they did some wonderful printing as well, the printing press. We did a guided walk down here with Martin Allen, who's a local botanist based in Middlesbrough, fantastic botanist. And did some wonderful work looking at all the plants. This is the bit that we're going to see further down. Joe Parks, who's done these wonderful little murals by the Lackenby Works.
Okay.
That I've always noticed from the train, but never actually knew who was responsible for them.
Surprising, it when you're on a train, you automatically just sit and look out the window.
I know, you do pick up on
things
stuff.
that you've never seen before.
Yeah, you do pick up on stuff. They did a lovely video actually of showing the process of putting this mural up, and they had Vin Garbutt's song actually in the background, and the words were just perfect. It really fitted what the project was about. It was really moving. Yeah, we've got steel news. We've got a lot of them, if not the whole collection, actually digitised in the British Steel collection. So, and they're fascinating. Fascinating documents, look at it.
Always remember, be safe, be seen.
Yeah.
Some sort of cycling.
Yeah.
One in that one.
Yeah, it was officially opened, I think, in October last year. Just wonderful.
It's a really long wall.
It is, it's a really long wall, but I think they've filled it really beautifully.
Yeah.
They've been very clever with how they've done it. And also, there were particular fixings that they couldn't use because obviously this is a retaining wall for if anything happens in the gas generating plant. No, they couldn't compromise the structure of the wall. So, and it's lasted, a year of extreme weather, and it's looking just as fresh as it did when it was installed last year. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Right, so here we are, South Bank train station. Again, we've got another one of Jim's waymarkers that Wrexham Cleveland Council put in. and somebody's very kindly added a bit of colour to that boot.
I can see that, yeah.
But again, you know, it's vandalism that kind of works. You know, it's not too bad.
Considerate vandalism.
Yeah, it is considerate vandalism, exactly. Quite interesting. There was a last summer we did. There was a guided walk carried out here, and again with Martin Allen, the botanist, and he found within about 200 metres of the station on either side about 125 different species of plant and grass and shrub. It's particularly rich around here, well, all along the Black Path, because the Black Path itself is kind of based on the slag, which was the waste product from the steel industry. Sorry, I've got a bit distracted. There's a load of long-tailed tits just flown over there. You can hear them.
You can hear them,
like
yeah.
They're in like a little family party. Yeah, they're just kind of foraging. It's really nice to hear them. And so the slag, when it weathers, it forms very dry kind of substrate, and it's got a lot of lime in it because you need limestone for the steel making industry process. So it's perfect for a very specific kind of suite of plants, which, you know, it's quite an interesting mix. So we've got plants that have been sort of introduced here and have become naturalised. We've got a lot of orchids and things as well. And it's going to be designated a local wildlife site because there are about 37 different species that you need to have, or they're like indicator species, so that they indicate a really good diversity. You need 10 of those indicator species in order to qualify for a local wildlife site, and this one's got about 16, I think it was, so it was well above the threshold.
Well, truly, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's going through the motions at the minute, and obviously this is really interesting, the connection between nature and industry. I mean, this mix of wild plants that we have here would not be here if it wasn't for the industry, because this was all marshland. It was all salt marsh. You know, the river was tidal. In fact, what we're following, the Black Path, used to be called the Sailors' Trod because sailors used to use it to get between the kind of lodgings and the different ships where they were kind of dropped off, and it actually followed the high tide line of the river. So all this land to the left of me, anyway, as I'm pointing back towards the river, is all being reclaimed. So it was all tidal, so it would kind of be covered at high tide, and at low tide it would just be like a mud flat. So it's all been reclaimed in order to put it to work, basically, for the industry. And around this area we had a real complex of different sites, of different iron and steel working sites. It's quite interesting. You had the South Bank Iron Works, they kind of set up in about the 1850s. You had a Clay Lane Works, which were named after a farm which was on the site. This was all incredibly rural. Before the industry came. Eston Steel Works, you had Cleveland Steel Works, and eventually they were all kind of taken over by Dorman Long and all sort of streamlined and brought together to be made more efficient. And then in 1967, I think it was, nationalisation came and that all turned over to British Steel Corporation, so which did result in quite a lot of job losses because obviously they moved some of the steel production over to Lackenby and places like that. So the Dorman Long Tower, we've got some really lovely images of that, and of the coke ovens being built. The lot before the lot that we've got here in the British Steel collection. Some incredible aerial shots of the area, which you're standing here and yeah, you can hear the industry again, and you've got structures around you, but it's really hard to kind of visualise just what it would have felt like, what it would have smelt like, what it would have sounded like. The whole place was just alive with steel making. You know, the heat and the dust. I think in about 1889, the Eston Steel Works, which were close to here, they were producing about 5,000 tonnes of steel a week, and they employed something like 13,000 men, and that was just one steelworks. I mean, the employment, I mean, that's why South Bank, the town sprung up. It was, and Grange Town as well. They were built to house the steel workers and iron workers, and everybody had some connection with the industry that was here, and they lived cheek by jowl. You know, it's not that far. The industry came right up to the edge of the town, so there was no separation at all, and you could obviously just walk into work. I mean, you had to be able to get into the steelworks. There was public transport was there, but it was much better if you could just walk or cycle into work, and obviously, you know, follow the shift patterns and things. So yeah, really interesting little site this. Yeah, I've just noticed the crown vetch just here, Mike. It's a beautiful flower, really, really lovely. It kind of covers all the bushes around here in the summer, and I was hoping it was still going to be flowering. It's actually an introduced species. It comes from the Mediterranean area, so it likes hot weather, it likes dry, it can cope with dry conditions, and again, it likes a limey soil. So, you know, the conditions created by the slag, which is very limey in its nature, is absolutely perfect for it. And it's a really pretty plant. And I mean,
Bees seem to like it as well.
what, sorry?
There's a few bees
I
in
know
there.
there are, yes, the insects absolutely love it. So, you know, I mean, we do talk about invasive species being a problem for biodiversity, but, you know, some of them have actually added quite a lot. And we're not sure how it's come here. I mean, a lot of these species, they might have come because it's on a railway track and the seeds have kind of blown in, you know, with the airflow. Might have come over with some of the limestone or some of the material from the steelworks. But yeah, normally in the summer, all these bramble bushes here are just covered with it. There's a little bit still flowering there as well.
There's a few. There's some brambles there as well.
I know, they look good, don't they? I have been picking there's huge ones over there.
My dad always used to say, don't get the brambles from the bottom of the bush because they've got dog wee on.
Do you know, that's what I've always told my son as well, yes. You know, just look at the leg height, you know, kind of thing. So
don't get them from the bottom because they've got wee on.
No. Anything above the waist, I think. You know, you need a big dog to kind of reach up there. So I've got a good view of the Dorman Long Tower as well.
It's a very iconic structure,
isn't
it?
It is. It's such a strong part of what Teesside is. I mean, I hadn't realised until relatively recently what its original purpose was, because it's obviously not been built as a landscape monument kind of thing. But it was a coal tower. And I read somewhere as well, when I was looking through the British Steel collection, that it did actually have big water tanks at the top when it stopped being a coal tower. And I think they probably used it, you know, in case there were any emergencies, any fires on site. But obviously this is all part of the South Bank coal coven site, which production came to a halt in, I think, 2015.
So going back to what we were talking about when we were at the Temenos structure,
yes,
it's that sort of thing that I was sort of getting to, that something like that is such a nod to our past kind of thing, as is the Able UK crane kind of thing. Yeah.
And it keeps the name in people's minds as well, because Dorman Long, when they were national, I mean, they took over a lot of the smaller ironworks and kind of brought them together, consolidated them. And then in 1967, nationalisation came, and they turned into British Steel Corporation. So, you know, you've lost that name, even though obviously Arthur Dorman, he built the Dorman Museum, so it still does live in other ways. But that's, you know, that's a real measure of what we used to do. I mean, Teesside built the world, and still does to some extent. You know, we haven't stopped making steel.
We were talking earlier, just off camera, about wedding anniversary, and I said that we'd gone to a restaurant. Well, that restaurant has Dorman Long steels.
Oh, fantastic!
Exposed throughout.
Oh, wow! That's
so
nice.
they've actually cut back the steels.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And they're all Dorman Long.
Yeah.
Now, because it's in a row of buildings, it makes you wonder if the entire row has Dorman Long steels.
Yeah, we built Middlesbrough, and then we built Teesside, and then we built the world. It's just an incredible structure, isn't it? We've got some great pictures actually of the bank of south of coal covens that you've got at the minute. I think they were brought in to operation about the 1970s, but there was another bank before them, and we've got photographs of the first load of coke that came out of the ovens in about 1956. And again, we've got some aerial shots of just this area, which you just wouldn't recognise it. You really wouldn't. Even though it is still industrial. Oh, we've got a horse.
A horsey.
There you go. Nice bit of grazing going on there. God, it's just a perfect day, isn't it? Really perfect day.
That's something behind us there.
Yeah. I remember walking past the coke ovens when they were open, and you could smell them. And sometimes you get huge clouds of steam coming out of that. Well, it must have been some kind of chimney, I guess. So here we are in Grange Town Station. Oh, sorry, I've just stood on a can.
It wasn't mine. Mine's still in my hand.
It is. I can vouch for that. So this is the underpass that you must have gone through to get to the other platform.
Yeah, I think that brickwork there wasn't there originally. Originally you could walk through onto the other side, because I've seen some photographs of it before. There's like a really nice tiled wall.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it. There, you can just catch the edge of it.
Oh, right.
You can see in the white that the camera's blurring it a bit.
Yes. Yeah,
you can see where that brick wall's been joined in.
Yeah.
And that has handrails that lead you up to the platform on the top.
Oh my goodness.
And for some reason, that must have got bricked up so you couldn't go under the underside of the platform.
Yeah. I mean, thousands and thousands of people use this when the works were when there were more works around than there are at the minute. So.
And it looks like they're monitoring some sort of movement. See the marks?
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there must be, because it's still a live line,
well,
isn't it?
Yeah, there's one here as well, look, because it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a live line above us,
Yeah.
it's not a live station anymore, is it?
No, but obviously the line's still being used, so. And somebody's done some work as well, cutting back the Budleigh.
Yeah, they've had the shrubs and things cut back,
yeah,
haven't they?
secateurs out. So, I remember rightly, I think it closed in 1991.
Oh, it's so early as that?
But it was called Eston Grange to start with, and then obviously when Grange Town became, was built to house all the workers in the steel and iron works, then it became Grange Town Station. So, but yeah, it started off Eston Grange because I think there was a farm, Eston Grange, around here. Again, completely transformed.
And that looks like it's been some sort of line above us as well, doesn't it? Because that's a very...
Yeah, it's very much railway.
Yeah, very much railway bridge.
Yeah, got that style, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But this sandstone wall is really quite substantial, isn't it? It's been beautifully dressed.
It has.
So that must have been from the earlier, when it
It's
was
as if
first
this has
built.
been intended as a walkway when you look at the...
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, you know, the black path has existed since the 19th century and probably earlier. So it was used as a way of, you know, of getting around along that high water mark. We've got some information, I think, in the archives about an order for having it moved, because once they started to develop the land between the railway and the river, they had to divert the black path, and so they moved it alongside the river. So I think there's some kind of legal document proposing that move.
So the stuff in the archives, Chris, do you get some of that like donated and people
We do.
find it? And
We do. We get a lot of collections. Yeah, I mean, you know, what we have a collection procedure, and our archivist Lara will go through. At the minute, obviously, it's a bit tricky with the whole COVID situation. So what we do is we will accept stuff. We put it into quarantine for about 3 days. Well, Lara can also do just go through the stuff on the phone to the person who's depositing it, and just kind of see what it is. And we have a policy, you know, so it has to meet certain criteria before we can accept it. Kind of has to fit in with our collections policy. So, but we've got so much amazing stuff. We've got Tees Valley Arts material, we've got village arts, we've got a lot of local societies like Teesmouth Bird Club, Cleveland Naturalist Field Society, Field Club, as well as the big industrial ones, Cleveland Bridge, British Steel, Pennyman collection from Ormsby Hall. We've got Ralph Ward Jackson's diaries from Hartlepool, which some volunteers are in the process of transcribing. So, some incredible material, and that's only, I mean, I'm only just starting to get to know what we've got and how we can use it, and that's the exciting thing, really, trying to work out how we can use it to spark off people's memories, to use, you know, to spark off inspiration for artwork, creative writing, how we can use it with school groups, educational groups. It's a real Aladdin's cave in the archives, it really is. Yeah, these are all the pipes. So it always amazes me that they're right next to the path.
yeah.
There's no protection for them.
No, you think they'd be fenced in or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd expect them to be, just with them being industrial, but whether or not they've been decommissioned, I don't know.
One of them looks quite new. So where are we at now?
We're near the Lackenby Works, Mike. So the Lackenby Works are just over this wall here. And this retaining wall's got a really lovely story associated with it. When I used to go, well, speak of the devil, the train's here. When I go on the train...
There you go, as if by magic.
I know, exactly, just all planned, you see, all part of the plan. I used to see these little murals that were on this wall, and I used to always wonder who on earth painted them. And it was through the Black Path Press project, actually, that I found out on their Facebook page. They did a call out to find out the information. And there was a gentleman called Joseph Parks. He was born in 1925. I think he died in 2003. And he used to work as a shunter in the Lackenby Works from about 76 to about 85. And when things were a bit slack, or maybe it was at the end of shifts, he used to come down here and he used to paint the murals. So there's a few that have still survived. This one here is just the remnants of, I think it looks like a heron.
It's a bird of some description, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But there's some flying ducks further on. There's a lovely one that has the word Stephen and then a swan painted, which apparently is the name of his grandson. And his son actually remembers him painting Rosebery Toppin. He painted a shark. There's various other bits and pieces along. And the lovely thing is that one day when he was busy painting, the train broke down just on the line. So we had all these people on here, the passengers, and they all cheered him and kind of clapped him and gave him like a round of applause,
Really
which
nice,
apparently he was really tickled with. So, but it's just such a lovely thing, you know. It's just such a lovely little story that somebody, you know, just thought, you know what I'll do in my spare time? I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to do some paintings that everybody can see from the train.
Yeah.
And it's always lightened up my day whenever I've seen them. So, but we'll notice them as we walk down. Like I say, I mean, I think he painted these into the early 80s. Well, he must have done, because obviously he finished in 85. So considering that, you know, he wasn't a professional artist as far as I know.
And he probably just, whatever paint he had lying around, he probably knew.
He's actually made a really, really good job of
Yeah.
it. So I think this might be the remains of one up here, but I'm not sure what it was.
Could be.
Yeah, I don't know, it's got a bit of a shark look about it actually, but like the grey, but
Could be anything.
I know, it could be anything there. Oh, the ducks are over here. So the ducks are still flying high.
Yeah, they're still doing well.
Yeah, they are. They're really lovely. And I mean, these are things we would have seen because we've got Dab Home Gut, which is this channel here, which is all covered in reeds and rushes now. And I have seen birds on it. I've seen the little egrets on here. I've seen ducks kind of flying up. I've seen moorhens as well. And you've got the British Oxygen Company, I think, Bock over the way there, busy making gases for industrial
hear that,
use. Yeah, you can.
If I remember correctly, it gets a little bit wet underfoot on this straight section.
It does. That's why I brought my
I wasn't as
my
clever as
stick.
that.
Yeah, because sometimes you just don't know how deep the water is. They did, Redcar and Cleveland tried to find out where the water was coming from, the council, but they just couldn't work it out. So
That looks like remnants of one as well.
it does a bit, and then somebody else has painted over the top of it, I think. So something about
Birds.
taps.
There's some birds on that at the top.
Oh yes, there are. Yeah, there's gulls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that lovely? I've not noticed them before.
They're too busy trying not to sink in the mud.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, I'll give you a warning. Oh, actually, it looks like they've had. Oh, do you know? I think they've done some work on the.
They put some hardcore down there.
Yeah.
That's a bird, definitely.
Definitely a bird there.
Yeah.
Probably another seagull, I think. And I think they've actually repainted one further on. So I mean, when I first saw it, I thought, has it been like a youth arts project? But then, how would they've got people down here? So
Be a long walk, wouldn't it?
it would be a very long walk, yeah.
Yeah, this is a section that's normally all
Yes, it is.
like a river.
It is. Actually, this is fantastic. This has made such a difference.
Just put some hardcore in. That's done the job, hasn't it?
It has.
I'm so glad because I put new trainers on for today. It's
It's like the red carpet for you, isn't
that's
it?
right. My trusty walking trainers have seen better days.
Yeah.
The point where they've no grip whatsoever.
Yeah, this is new graffiti. I've not noticed this before. Oh, you've got water mint there as well, look. Grown, which is really nice. Yeah, this is definitely where the water comes
Yeah,
out.
it
It's
definitely
really
is.
built it up.
You can see the water there to the left.
Yeah. It's not very easy to walk on, but it's a lot better
No,
than
it's
trying
better than swimming across
Oh,
it.
it is. Or
There was,
sinking.
the last time I came down, there was like a scaffolding board or something that was precariously balanced.
Yes, I
you
think
could-
people have done various
try and get you
DIY
through.
jobs, yeah. Oh, this is the new ducks. Yeah,
That one's just been, is that one being topped up, do we think?
No, I think what they've done is they've looked at the design further down and they've actually just painted it from new,
Right.
from fresh, so, because the other one was further down, I think. But I think the Stephen Swan might be painted over the original. Which I think this one's my favourite, actually. I love it. You know, fancy your granddad kind of, you know, painting your name.
Yeah.
That's seen by tens of thousands of people every day. Yeah, so that's definitely been topped up.
Yeah, it's
that
been
one.
topped up, hasn't it?
Yeah. Just lovely. I like his style. Really nice.
I like that. Something nice to do, isn't it?
It is, and it's kind of, you know, it's just a lovely little story really. Somebody from the works just finding a bit of spare time, a bit of spare paint, and just thinking, do you know what, I'll just leave my mark on this wall here. And
in quite a considerate way as well. It was
totally.
It wasn't just scrawling your name, was it? Like that?
No. It was the proper art really. So, yeah, lovely.
Nice.
Right, so we're coming to the to pretty much the end of, I guess, the Black Path as it is. To the Redcar Road now. Some quite nice industrial structures, I guess relating to the steelworks. Still some nice flowers around as well.
It's a big space of nothing.
It is. It looks like a road. It must have been a road at some point. Maybe it was a road into the works.
Yeah, it
potentially.
could have been.
I mean, there is a railway line there, so I'm not sure. We're coming up to another set of steps, but I have to say this one wasn't put in, I don't think, by my husband.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Did you just fancy building some more with the wood he had left over?
Yeah. Do you know what? I know exactly where that wood can go.
These are a recent addition though, because I do remember climbing up the dirt, like steps. They weren't as
quite rough before,
they weren't as nice as these.
The way marker, another Jim Roberts way markers at the top
At the
there
top,
as well.
yeah.
With the bottom.
So once we get to the top of here, Chris, do we go left?
Turn left, yeah, and we follow the edge of the road, past the entrance into what used to be the Redcar Steelworks.
Steel, yeah.
And then we continue walking along the road towards Redcar, and then we go into Coatham Marsh.
Cool.
And that's where the Teesdale Way kind of takes you over to Warrenby.
Brilliant.
So, and that's where the walk will end.
Yeah, because there's not a lot to see along the motorway unless anyone wants to do some car spotting.
I was going to say, yes, unless you're really into your cars.
My son would probably like it.
Yeah, he would. He would. He'd be loving it. There you go, another set of boots.
They're really nicely done those, aren't they? They're brilliant.
They are, and I just love the way the boots are kind of in slightly different positions with each way marker.
Every time.
Yeah, and there's actually a way marker in the final ones in Coatham Marsh. So that's a really nice one as well. Got a few other bits and pieces to it, so.
So we're classing this as a trunk road?
Yes.
This is a trunk road?
Yes, it is. This is Lord McGowan's Bridge. I'm not sure, I can't remember who Lord McGowan was. I think there might be some information about him on the other side of the bridge. He was obviously important with the industry, but we'll find out in a minute. Lovely view of Errington Woods on the horizon there.
Never been in there.
It's a lovely wood.
One of the lads I ride with always mentions Errington Woods and I've never been.
Yeah. Big ironstone mine there as well that used to feed the furnaces of Teesside.
There's the information you're
There
about.
he goes, yep, chairman of ICI, 1951, I don't know if that was the year that the bridge was built. Brilliant.
So we're heading down to Redcar now,
Yep.
and you say we go through Coatham Marsh.
Yeah, we turn left and go through Coatham Marsh. I think we've got some images actually from the British Steel collection that show this area when this road was actually being built.
Right.
So they must date from the 1950s, which is quite interesting to see. So this is where the Teesdale Way, England Coast Path go into Coatham Marsh, and they've got this beautiful new gate now, new feature, which is really, it's just really squeeze like a little gap in the fence.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this gate before.
Yeah, it's really lovely.
I think in the past I entered it a bit further down
Yeah.
when I've came here before.
think
I
it's-
noticed there'd been some like new gates and pieces of fence put in.
Yeah. I think it has always been there because this path is quite old, but I think it's always surprising really just where it is in relation to the road.
And where does this come out, Chris?
Well, this takes you through Coatham Marsh, which is Tees Valley Wildlife Trust. And we actually come out in Warrenby.
So this is kind of a natural addition to the Black Path route kind of thing,
It is
would
actually,
you say?
yeah, I mean it's part of the Teesdale Way, it's part of the course path, so it's actually a nice route to take, and you can see the wildlife as well, so, which is really lovely. But the site itself isn't actually owned by Tees Valley Wildlife Trust. I think SSI owned it.
Okay.
So once the obviously once the signs popped up saying that, you know, this is nature reserve.
Right. Ah,
So
yeah,
you do
they
have
put
to
it
be
on the
careful.
sort of desire lines, haven't they?
They have, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a map. I mean, you know, the Wildlife Trust, obviously, they know the area that they're able to manage. Oh, there's a few more dragonflies around.
Yeah.
Look. I think these must be common darters. I think they are the females. I'll have to double check when I get back. There's a more reddish one. I think that's the male.
You've got better eyes than me.
So yeah, this is like a remnant of the marshland that used to basically cover all of the estuary of the Tees. And obviously slowly over time, the industry has reclaimed the land and covered a lot of it with slag, with the waste product. Obviously built north and south gare as well, all from the slag. Completely transformed this part of the river. Gosh, there's loads of dragonflies here. Do you want to go in front so you can get them?
Yeah, I can see
Yeah, they're just kind
that's
of
a red
basket.
one
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that's a male, I think, and then the brown's a female, I think.
What are they after?
What, sorry?
What are they after?
Well, they're probably just kind of basking. I mean, they're active hunters. It might be mating time as well. They're quite a late flyer, the common darters, so the chances are if we've got males and females together, they're probably looking for potential mates. But they'll be looking for insects, you know, they actively hunt flying insects. And when they're not, they just rest where they can get the sunshine.
Speaking of which, we've still got a fantastic blue sky.
Oh, we have.
We could have had some lovely photographs today.
I know.
I've tried to capture them in the video so we can get some screenshots at least.
Oh, that would be nice, yeah. There's been some absolutely stunning views.
And this is all like on our doorstep, really.
It is,
Isn't
it's
it?
not far, yeah, and it's all free. It's completely free to enter. It's free to walk all the way down the Black Path, so you know, you get a real sense of the change of seasons, don't you? Because look at those berries on that hawthorn. On the left-hand side, it's just red.
I want to get these yellow buttercups for.
Oh yeah, that's like that's a member of the cabbage family. That one. There's also some ragwort still flowering as well. That's the yellow daisy-like flower. So yeah, we've got maps that kind of show this area. Yeah, look at the berries. It's absolutely laden. Yeah, we've got maps that show.
What's that building up there, Chris? Do you know what that is?
That's Steel House.
That's a steel house.
Yeah, that's what used to be the headquarters of British Steel, and it's all part of the redevelopment.
I'm sure, you know, I can't remember who told me, but I'm sure there's some sort of monument or stone plinth or something in the grounds of that building that's from Middlesbrough.
Really?
And I can't remember who told me.
Oh, right.
That's one to look at.
Yeah. What's some kind of historical?
Yeah, like, do you know you mentioned like the heads of exchange buildings?
Yeah, that'd been
something like that.
Oh.
Someone told me that they're in the grounds there.
Gosh, they should.
Because a friend of mine used to work in that building.
Right.
And said there were like there was like a plaque or I can't remember the years he told me, but they were in the grounds of that building.
They do need to retrieve them, don't they?
Because I thought it was strange that it was something from Middlesbrough was in Redcar.
But I guess it's kind of the steel and iron stone kind of connection, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's what creates.
We'll have to have a look at that and see if we can figure out what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give him a ring and find out.
Yeah, do. I'll see if I've got any. I don't know how I'd look
If
for
you
that
come
in
up
the
with something,
archives.
insert it here.
Yeah, I can do, yes. Yeah, we go down this way. Coatham Church, I think, is just over there.
I was looking at that, yeah.
Yeah, it just looks like they're doing some work on the spire. So it's like a real. Oh, you have to cross over the railway here.
It's a footbridge over the top, isn't it? Yeah, I've been this way.
Yeah, it's been an exceptional year for elderberries there. You've got your hawthorn berries. Itching powder from rose hips. You ever done that before?
No.
If you split them open, the seeds inside have got loads of hairs, and you can use it as a DIY.
Chuck it
itching
down
powder.
someone's shirt.
Yeah. I won't demonstrate. So. Yeah, they redirected the line. I think it was in the 1970s when they were starting to really develop the blast furnace at Redcar. I mean, there's always been furnaces and ironworks here of some shape or form, but I think in the 70s they were doing a lot of work there, and so they redirected the line. And it kind of cuts across. There's actually an old decoy pond in Coatham Marsh, where they would have kind of arms leading out from the pond with some kind of cage or something on the end, and they would drive the ducks and the waterfowl into baskets at the end to kill and eat, basically.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
As you do.
Novel way of getting them.
Yeah, yeah. You can use dogs to do that. I think the ducks get quite curious about the dogs, and the dogs walk on the outside, and the ducks tend to follow them. The waterfowl tend to follow them, so they get to the end and they're trapped in in the basket. So. And here we are, Coatham Marsh, right at the end of the walk. Another little surprise just around the corner. I think you know about this one, Mike. It's the final way marker. The Teesdale Way.
I wasn't sure which way it went, whether it went off to the left or...
I'd heard that the Teesdale Way itself actually went behind us and brings you out near to a substation.
Okay.
The way marker's actually up here. So, and this way brings you out to the car park at Coatham Marsh. But look at that, isn't it lovely? So you've got your rucksack, you've got your little folding stool.
100 miles.
Yeah, 100 miles.
Is that how far we've walked today?
But not in the time. I mean, the time has flown, I have to say.
I was going to say, you just said that it actually flew by then. Now you're saying it feels like you walked 100 miles. I don't have to take that.
I think it's my feet. My feet are a bit hot in these boots. I didn't really need to wear these boots, to be honest.
I think I chose the correct footwear.
I think you did.
My feet have been
yeah.
perfectly fine today.
I shall give that one to you.
If a little, probably a little wet if I take my shoes off.
It looks here as if the Wildlife Trust have actually done a bit of hay cutting, so they've cut all the grass and the flowers down, left it to dry, and I imagine they're going to rake it up. And this helps to manage the flower meadows.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. This is on our doorstep, and it's unbelievable.
Glorious.
You think we live, if you're just stuck in the town centre all the time, it's easy to forget that this is just.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you've got the
walk
Hills,
away.
Which gave birth really to the whole iron and steel industry in Middlesbrough. You've got Errington Woods, you've got the fire station there with the tower. You pan round and you've got the spire of the church at Coatham. It's very open, isn't it, as well? It's a different feel to the Black Path.
Yeah, it's totally different, this section, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you think that, Redcar is kind of on our doorstep, really. We're not that far away from the seaside.
Yeah, well, once over, that's what people did. They'd pile into the train, they'd come to Redcar, they'd go to Saltburn. That's why Saltburn was built, by Henry Pease. It's a place for people to come, for the workers to come, to have days out and trips out. The more well-to-do to kind of stay in the hotels, the fancy hotels. So
yeah, it's a nice place. John and I did a walk there a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was quite nice. There was a little bit of information about the viaduct that was there.
Yes, yeah. The Halfpenny Bridge. Got a little information panel there. I've been down here in the winter when you get murmurations of starlings. So the starlings come over from Europe and they form sort of quite big flocks. And about sort of dusk times, before they settle into the reeds to roost, these huge flocks, and they kind of move, twist around, and then kind of drop down into the reeds. Real spectacle. You get a really good one up at Saltone as well, RSPB Saltone. Some little butterfly
I know where we are.
tracks, yeah.
Just leads to the gate if we go left, doesn't it?
Walk for another day?
Possibly.
Yeah, I do like the gate. But coming into Warrenby now, you wouldn't believe how different it was when it was established. We've got now are a lot of light units. We've got the council recycling centre further down the left. But this was a lovely little village that was built by the ironwork owners to house their workers.
Right.
And we've got a lot of information about it. Where the recycling centre is, there was a gorgeous little church called St Andrews. We've got this picture actually that we'll put up obviously within the video. This is the interior, decorated for Harvest Festival. And it was like a little mission church. So I think it was built out of tin or out of wood. Beautiful little church. These are some photographs stained glass. These are some of the houses that are on Todd Point Road, which is this road, the main road that goes through. We've got a fabulous map as well from the Husky Petch collection of Warrenby as it was, and all the little streets where the ironworker houses were named after water birds. So you had Widgeon Street and Plover Street, you had Wild Duck Street, I think there was Snipe, there was Teal Street, there was Downey because he was one of the ironwork owners, Coney Street, Coney an old word for rabbits. So yeah, it was a really strong community. We've got a fantastic oral history by a lady called Hetty Petch. And I think that, like I say, these oral histories were recorded in the 80s, by which time they'd actually moved, anybody who was still living in Warrenby, they'd moved them, I think, to Dorman's Town, and they'd knocked down all of the housing. And she was just recounting her childhood and growing up in the community. And they had some amazing customs, because most families, well, some families used to keep pigs for meat, and if you had some spare scraps of food, you'd put them in a slot bucket and they would go to the pig. So if you'd contributed any food scraps to the feeding of the pig, when they came to slaughter the pig, you'd get some of the meat back. But what you had to do was, you had to take the meat off the person whose pig it was, you transferred the meat to your plate, and then you gave them that plate back dirty. You didn't wash the plate. Otherwise, it was bad luck. So, just these little rituals. And she recounted a fabulous story where, there was one or two families that were quite big. There was one lady who had about 8 or 9 children. And apparently she gathered them all up, fed them, washed them, got them off to bed. About 10 o'clock, 10:30 that night, somebody's dad turns up and says, "Oh, have you seen our bill anywhere?" And this little voice comes from upstairs saying, "Oh, Dad, I told her I didn't want to go to bed, but she wouldn't listen." Kind of thing. She just gathered whatever kids she could find, hadn't realised that she had somebody else's kids in her group, got them all sorted, off to bed. Didn't take any kind of,
notice of who
yeah,
they were.
Yeah, just got them all off to bed. And, there was a sense of, if your family were, your mum had a baby or whatever, and things were a bit tight in the house, and you didn't have so much to eat and stuff, then you knew that you could go around to a neighbour's house and you'd get fed. There was such a strong sense of community. The houses, for working class houses were apparently really good quality. So it's a shame that we've lost them, but there are some buildings still left. There's a Methodist chapel. Hiya. There's the Methodist chapel, which has been turned into a garage, which is further down the road there. And there's the old school as well. We've actually got, in the archives, we've got the school logbooks from about, the village was kind of set up in about 1873, they started building. And the school was opened in about 1878. And we've got the logbooks from 1878 to 1969. So, and the headmaster at the time, there was a headmaster there. He was a headmaster for like 42 years. Incredible length of time. So I want to go through those logbooks. That's going to be one of my jobs, because it gives a real sense of the social history and the way that the community kind of worked together, For example, if the hunt was on, a lot of the lads used to follow the hounds. And so they'd be there in the morning, but the hounds were out in the afternoon and they just wouldn't turn up at school. Some people didn't tell the headmaster their kids' ages because they wanted the kids to start work, basically, and then start to add to the finances, So there's some incredible stories. Just noticed we've got a visitor. I wonder if he gets fed.
Hello.
By visitors, by people that come here.
That's why he's come over the gate.
I know, he's thinking he's just trying his luck. I'm sorry, mate, I don't share my bait with anybody.
And I've ate all mine, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I've only got an orange. I don't think you're going to like an orange. No, it's a big sigh. He's not impressed.
Maybe he does listen.
Yes, he does, yeah. So we've got some lovely stuff about Warrenby. Like I say, there's a lot of local history. There's somebody who I think was born in Warrenby, moved to Dorman's Town, used to walk on the black path to the football matches. I think I might have mentioned that earlier on in the walk. So yeah, we've got some, and it's hard when you look at it now with the light industry units and things. It's hard to remember that there was a thriving community here. There was a big explosion, actually. There used to be a plaque up for it on the Black Path. In 1895, about 12 of the 15 boilers in the Maynard and Walker works blew up. And I think about 11 men died. So, some were very, very badly injured. And they pretty much all came from Warrenby. So that must have had a huge impact on the community here. It created a lot of widows. A lot of children obviously lost their fathers. So we have got a photograph actually of the aftermath in the British Steel collection. But in fact, that's the chapel, just down behind you, Mike. If you pan round again, it's just that brick building with the big open bit on the side.
With the bus on the side of it.
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, I think it's a garage now.
Yeah, I think it is. I think you can still see the chapel look when you look at the front of the building. But yeah, it's a garage now. So it's only that and and obviously Marsh House right at the end, which is an 18th century farmhouse built by the Turner family.
Yeah, right. You
can
just
see it right at the very end
yeah.
of Todd Point Road. Yeah. So that's been there an awful long time. Ooh.
I didn't realise there was houses on this road originally.
Yeah. It was a like I say, a fantastic, thriving community. There was recreational grounds. There were allotments, the chapel, the church. There were shops. There was a hotel, Warrenby Hotel. Just proper community.
Yeah.
And you would never. There's not. Even if you know where to look, there are a few of the streets. I think a few of the entrances into some of the units have still got the old names. But I just love the names. I love the Widgeon Street and Teal Street and that connection, with the setting that they were in. It's just lovely, really lovely.
So there we are, guys. We have reached the end of our Black Path walk. I hope you've enjoyed watching that, and there's been a bit of information from Chris there. I thought it was a great idea to bring her along, and we were just saying there, weren't we, about the time's just flown there.
Oh,
really, it's gone really well.
It's felt like nothing really. So yeah, it's been wonderful. Thanks so much for inviting us.
Thank you very much
Mike,
for coming along. It's been really nice. I've been trying to get other sort of guest walkers along for that reason. I think that's worked really well. Yeah. So hopefully not too much of it will end up on the editing floor.
No,
and you'll see our entire journey, because that has been a really nice time. Yeah. So we're going to love you and leave you here. Chris said she's got some change and she's going to buy me an ice cream.
Oh yes.
There you go, see?
What about that? And it's recorded now, we've got evidence.
We've got evidence now, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to head off, we're going to grab an ice cream, then we're going to catch the train home, and we're going to have a look along that line of some of the stuff we've been looking at in a bit of detail there, aren't we? So again, thanks for joining us. If there's anything else you'd like us to try and capture, either myself or Chris, we've already been talking about a few other routes we might go and have a look at. So drop us a line, leave us a comment if you're watching this on Facebook right now, and we'll do what we can. So as always, stay safe. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Brilliant. Take care. Look after yourselves, everybody.
Thanks all.